excuse me. Okay. Must be allergic to the BS. Welcome back to my channel's Book Bestie. Today we are talking about all the books I read in June. So I feel like June was a super long month, so I actually wrote down the books that I read so that I can remember all of them for you guys. These are in no particular order, just the order that I remembered reading them. So let's start with that. First and foremost, I read Caraval. I've been like, this book has been everywhere, so I had to read it. I was talking about it a lot. And you know what? I liked it. I actually liked Caraval. I liked it so much that when I was done, I also read Legendary and Finale in quick succession. So this little, I was gonna say trilogy, but I feel like, well, they do have one that's oh, what's it called? Spectacular. But it's more like a little Christmas special. I did not finish that one. It was not as interesting to me as me wanting to know what was happening in the actual books. That one was just meh. Maybe I'll get around to it again during Christmas. So I actually gave it, this book, 3 stars. Yeah, it was just a good read. It was magical. It was fanciful. I like the world that it was built in. I know a lot of people say that there was not a lot of world building, but that's what I like about it. Like, they gave me just enough for me to complete the world in my mind, instead of being too detailed. Like, personally, I feel like when you get too bogged down with details in a setting, then it kind of detracts from the story for me anyway. So I like to, you know, put my mind in there. So the fact that it was so mysterious and all over the place made sense that the setting was also mysterious and all over the place. So I did like Caraval. So I also read Josh and Gemma Make a Baby. You guys may have seen that in my bookish vlog, but that was good too. Like, I really liked it. There were some parts that were like, but overall it was a really cute story. And I give that one, I'll give that 3 stars as well. That was about a girl named Gemma, and she is a divorcee, and she's supposedly infertile, and she's wanting to have a baby. So she talks to her brother's best friend and convinces him to be her donor. And then they go through the ups and downs of making a baby together. So that's good. I'm gonna try to get through these pretty quickly because there are quite a few books that I read. The next book is Watching You by Lisa Jewell, and it's a thriller, or suspense, I'm sorry. It's a suspense, and as much as I try to get away from my mysteries and suspenses, I keep coming back to them because that's what holds my attention, like, more than the romance, I will say. Like, I used to be a big romance junkie, but now I'm mostly like thriller and suspense these days. So Lisa Jewell is my girl, and she did not disappoint with Watching You. So me being me, I did guess it like that. I guessed it like the little twist right away, but I do like that she doesn't try to do like double twist. Like, she lets you know what it's gonna be, that's what it is, and you feel fulfilled knowing that you knew. So Watching You is about a woman who moves in with her brother and his wife, and she is married as well. And she's like a little younger, so she gets infatuated with this school teacher who lives across the street from her. And so she's like watching this school teacher all the time, like pretty much being a creep. And then the school teacher has a son who is like weird, super weird kid. Like, he's a teenager, he's super weird. He sits in his room with binoculars and he watches everybody on the street, so he's like a creep too. And then, so everybody's watching everybody here. And then there's a girl that lives on the same street, and her mother is like convinced that she knows this teacher. So the mother is also watching the teacher, and the son is watching the mother. So everybody's watching everybody, and there is a murder. Okay, so there's a murder that happens. So the school teacher's wife ends up murdered in her home. And they're pretty much going through the story trying to figure out who murdered her. And it was really good. I just like Lisa Jewell's writing. So if you know me, then you know I like Lisa. That book a 4 stars. Then in the same vein, Lisa Jewell just dropped a new book called Don't Let Him In. And that's, I like the different character perspectives that she gives with her books. That's one reason I really like reading her. And then she tends to do a lot of like past, present, multiple POVs, and that's what I like. I love a good flashback. So Don't Let Him In is about a woman whose husband is murdered. They always start with the murder. Her husband is murdered, and she meets this guy, and she is like smitten with this guy, and her daughter is telling her like, yo, I don't really trust this guy, he's kind of a creep. So she's doing like a little digging to see if her intuition is right, like the daughter, and the mother is like just being who she is because, you know, she's a widow, she's grieving her husband. It's been a year, and her husband left her with 3 businesses, like $500,000 in money. So obviously her daughter feels like she's being targeted, and she wants to investigate this person. That's all I'm going to give away on that book because it is brand new, and it is so good. I actually looked up some Goodreads reviews because I don't know if y'all like me, but when I really like a book, I want to see other people that liked it. But then when I really don't like a book, I also want to see other people that didn't like it. Like, I want my feelings validated. But this book was really good. I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars. Highly recommend. A lot of people didn't like it, which is crazy to me, but I loved it. So that was actually a quick read. I read that one in 2 days. It was like boop, 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 boop. One more thing I want to say about Lisa Jewell before I move on to the next book is she, a lot of the times in her books, like she'll put it all like in the beginning, like who did what, you know, who, what, when, where. But the point of most of her stories is the why, like the journey to why what is happening happens. And that's really what I like about her. 5 books so far. I did read A Year in the Jungle, but I'm not counting that as like one of my top books I read. So 5 books. The next book I read was The Wedding Vow. The Wedding Vow by Dandy Smith. It's about a woman whose husband was murdered, and she found out like during this grieving process, she found out he was having an affair. So she goes through the book like trying to figure out who he's having an affair with, and like all these people are very suspicious, which is bizarre because it kind of kept you guessing, but you kind of like, is it like, even me, I was guessing like different people to the end, which I never do. I'm usually like spot on with my guesses, but like I'm like, okay, one of my suspects, like I had a whole list of suspects. But so that's what it's about. She's going through trying to figure out who he had an affair with. It was such a good book. That one I give 4 stars too. Like I don't know, it was really good. That one is highly recommended. The Wedding Vow, Dandy Smith. And keeping pace with the whole Perfect Marriage wedding type thing, I also read The Perfect Marriage, and that was by, let me tell you who it was by. Okay, The Perfect Marriage is by Geneva Rose, and that one is about okay, so that's about a wife who is an attorney, and her husband who is a writer, and he goes to jail for murdering his mistress, and the only person that can like help him is his wife. So she is representing him, and his mistress was murdered in like this small town where they have a lake house, and she was murdered in his bed. So obviously he's the prime suspect, and so he's in jail. So here's the thing. First of all, he wasn't in jail, he was arrested, and then he just kept doing more and more and more ridiculous things. Like, he gets arrested and he's put on the box, and it's like, you can't go anywhere. So he's on house arrest. This dude takes his little house arrest thing, cuts it off, runs away from the house, just being so stupid. So it's like, they catch him, obviously, and they take him back, and the wife's getting frustrated, like, yo, just chill out, let me do my job. And so he's like, okay, my bad, I'm sorry. So they catch him, they bring him back to jail. They're like, look, house arrest didn't work, you're gonna be staying in jail. So big hullabaloo, he escapes jail, runs away again, gets caught again, and is brought back to jail. And it's like, bro, you just, like, he don't want freedom at this point. Like, he just don't want it. So the book was so infuriating because this guy just kept doing the dumbest things that you could possibly think of. And it's like, okay, bro, like, really? So besides the dumbness of the book, I really also was not a fan of the ending of the book. So whereas I gave the Wedding Vow a 4, I'm gonna give this one a 3. I was gonna say 2.75, but I'm gonna give it a 3. I did like the writing. It mostly kept me engaged, except for him being stupid and then the stupid ending. But so I give it a 3. Recommend, yeah, just because she has a new book out now, The Divorce. And I am trying so very hard not to buy this book because I am on holds for The Divorce at both my libraries and on my library apps. So like, this book is really popular, and I'm like, I gotta get it in my hands because I need to know what happens. So that's a highly recommended book at a 3. Even though it's highly recommended, like, it don't get a, like, I think you should read it, but I'm not saying that it's the best book. So that's the discrepancy between the recommendation and the rating. Reading A Year of Starting Over, and it wasn't something I like went out to read. It just so happened to pop up on like my recommendations because they know what books I like. Like, once you start reading certain types of books in your app, it'll recommend books to you. So that one was recommended to me. I'm trying to see, so I'm trying to see who it's by. Give me just a moment to pull that book up. I don't even know what app I had it on. That's the problem, y'all. I got like 3 different library apps because I'm like, ooh, I need to be saving monies. Okay. A Year of Starting Over is by Karen King. It's about this woman who thought that she was going to be getting married to her partner, and he's like, look, this just isn't working out, and he pretty much breaks up with her. Classic. She decides that she needs to get away because her grandfather, whom she was really close to, actually died and left her a large sum of money to get her life the way she wanted it, like back on track. So she ends up going to live in Spain with one of her friends, her closest friends, and her friend has this like huge house, and she's has a lot of land, and they're like turning it into an artist retreat. So for mostly free room and board, she's helping them set up this artist retreat, like renovate the house, stuff like that. And in the process, she meets this guy, and she starts learning Spanish, and she just starts working and doing what she loves to do, like trying to open her own business. So it was a really cute, fun story of a woman starting over after being scorned, and I would give it a 3. I'd say it was a cute, quick little read. It was adorable. I liked it. It wasn't like the best thing I ever read, but it was good. So solid 3 from me. One book that I read that I was really looking forward to was Problematic Summer Romance. And let me just say, this book was problematic. The book is about a girl. She's like in her 20s, and she's going to her brother's wedding in Italy. And I was really excited about that part of the book being in Italy, but we got pretty much zero on the Italian part. Like, no beautiful descriptions. Like, I really wanted to be sucked into that Italian space, but that didn't happen. But whatever, it is what it is. So it was the girl in her 20s. She went to her brother's wedding in Italy, and she ran into her brother's best friend. And her brother's best friend is like almost 40. So the entirety of the book, he's telling her like, look, you're too young. And she is pretty much throwing herself at him. Like, annoying. It was so annoying. Like, every other page was talking about this great huge age gap. The more she talked, the more problematic it became. I don't think her and I were talking about the same problematic, even though they dropped the word problematic like 8 times, like just so that you knew it was problematic. And I feel like they mentioned the age thing to force feed that narrative to the reader, and it's like they don't think readers are smart enough maybe to understand the age gap, so they're trying to feed it to you to hype it up for excuse me, okay, must be allergic to the BS. Just kidding. So I had to go back because I was like, wait a minute, something ain't right. So in the book, she says that Connor and Minami were Eli's best friends, and when she moved in with them, Minami and Connor helped out immensely. Okay, so they helped out immensely, and they were best friends. They owned a company together. They saw each other all the time, and she remembers seeing Connor, and then, you know, all the time, right? So then later on, she says that she remembers maybe seeing Connor come over to have beers or something, but never really paying him any attention, and he never paid her any attention. So they both forgot the other existed. Let me tell you something. First of all, she only been out of the house, like she was 20, I'm sorry. So she was 20 when she met him, which meant she'd only been out of the house for like 3 years. You telling me that you forgot that a grown man that has been in your life, most of it, you forgot he existed. And he somehow thought that you were 13 and that you didn't exist. So when he first reaches out to her, or when she reaches out to him, and they're on the phone, and he's like, is this Eli's kid sister? Aren't you like 13? There's so many like plot holes here. We're trying to, not like the character, but the writer, Ali, trying to justify why this isn't weird at all. And it is. It's very weird because he watched this little child grow up, decided that somewhere in her teens he was gonna fall in love with her, and then pretend that he thought she was 13 when she was 20 and reached out to him. So it's just weird because he acts like he didn't know or remember her. And her brother, like later on in the book, her brother's telling her like, oh yeah, it was him that did that thing for you when you were a teenager that I said I wouldn't do for you. Like, he's always cared about you. And it's like, that's freaking weird. Like, this whole book is weird and problematic. And it was like, I rolled my eyes so many times. I'm gonna give this book a 2.5 just because I was able to finish it. So I mean, I guess it was like readable. Definitely not something I would read again. Like, girl, yeah, even though this is my most anticipated book of June, it was one of the biggest flops of June. Actually, I liked Caraval better than this book. So that's, I can't even recommend it, honestly. I'm not gonna recommend it, so sorry. Last but not least, oh, my camera's gonna die, so let's see if I can get this in. Okay, last but not least, I read Summer Reading by Gemma. So I really like her cozy mysteries, so I thought I would give this a try. And it's a 2-star for me. It's a 2.5. I did like the ending, so it's a 2.5 for me. In Summer Reading, it's about a woman who has dyslexia and a male librarian who is a bookworm. But the story is so ridiculous. Just like Problematic Summer Romance, she goes the entire book, like every other page, talking about this woman's dyslexia. So she's like, oh, when men find out I have dyslexia, they just leave me. And one of the things that she actually said, she's telling this guy about her interaction with an old guy that she used to date. And she's like, yeah, when he found out I had dyslexia, he was looking into having a family, and he told me he couldn't be with me anymore because he didn't want me to pass down my dyslexia to his child. And I'm like, who talks like that? Like, just, it's mind-boggling. So she was working for this company. She was this amazing chef, like write-ups in the paper and everything. Yet she said that she got passed over for a promotion because of her dyslexia. Like, I can see you saying, oh, I got passed over for a promotion because I'm a woman and he just didn't want a woman in his kitchen. And she's like, no, it was because of my dyslexia. And I'm like, was it though? Like, I don't know. I feel like you're blaming everything on this dyslexia and it's making me feel uncomfy. And then there is a ridiculous, so these are spoilers. Spoiler alert, my bad. So then there's another part in the book that I just literally had to roll my eyes at. The part in this book where the main guy character is taking the main female character to meet his mother. And his mother's like this big artist, and she's like this cold-hearted woman or whatever, for whatever reason. So he takes her to meet his mother, and his mother ask her to read a paper for her, like out of nowhere, out of the blue. Doesn't know this woman. She's like, read this, read it. She doesn't even know that this girl has dyslexia at this point in time. So her son, y'all, so her son is like, mother, you don't even know she has dyslexia. How dare you tell her to read that? So the mother, this evil witch lady, apparently, she starts laughing like, ha ha ha. And this is literally what she says. This mother of his, she's like, you've had your nose in a book since you were a child, and you choose to be with her? She can't even read. I kid you not, like verbatim. Why? Just, they're really like trying to force feed this narrative. So that just didn't make sense. Like, this is why this book is getting 2 stars. It's ridiculous. And no, I gave it 2.5. I don't even know, somewhere around there. The book was bizarre. Like, there were so many plot holes. I thought I was about to fall in. I love Gemma. I like her writing, but this book was just no, girl. Just no. Okay. My camera died there. I was getting into it. But so I just cannot recommend it unless you want a good laugh. But if you want to be annoyed, then yes, go ahead. Whereas I read Lisa Jewell in 2 days. It took me about a week to get through that very short book, y'all. It was a struggle, but I had to get through it because I had already started it. So that's what I did. Anyway, those are all the books I read in June. Those are my recommendations, my ratings. If you guys made it this far, please comment below what your favorite book of June was, and let's compare notes. I am so happy that you guys watched this video. I will see you guys in another video. Thank you. Please subscribe. Bye.